Hey, what's going on everyone? In this review, I'll be looking at the main villain suit from Gundam Wing, the OZ00-MS Tallgeese. As usual, I'll be reviewing this Master Grade model kit in 4 categories: the build, the appearance, the articulation, and the gimmicks. I'll give each a score from 1 to 5, and at the end I'll tally it all up for an average score. Hopefully this review can help you decide if you should pick up this Master Grade. Okay, now let's get right into it with this build. With this being a fairly modern Master Grade, coming out in 2013, this kit has a complete inner frame. On top of that, because this isn't your typical MS design, the engineering of the inner frame is really unique. The build for the legs specifically are really interesting because of all the moving parts around the knee. Same for the elbow. Experienced builders will really enjoy this kit. Everything is actually pretty stable as well too, with me only needing to add glue to this gray piece on the head with the mohawk and these little ankle guards on the legs. Unfortunately, there is a bit of painting to do on this kit though. First up are these red dots on the waist and chest. You do get stickers for them, but if you've got a red Gundam marker on hand, it's almost easier to just paint them up instead. After that, there are these gray dots on the top of the thrusters, which also come with a set of stickers. I didn't actually paint these because there isn't a well-defined channel for them. It's kind of just an indent. Next are these small wings in the thrusters. They come in all white, so you need to paint this yellow and gray section. It's actually pretty easy since there's a panel line separating the sections off. You do get stickers, but they have to fold around the wing, so you just know they'll pop up in no time. Lastly, you need to paint his visor blue. Yeah, it comes in straight up clear and there is no sticker for it. You're supposed to use a clear light blue, but all I had on hand was this dark cyan color, so that's what I went with. I really enjoyed this build. The engineering was interesting enough to warrant a 4.5 out of 5. However, there is a little too much painting for my taste, so I'll give it a still respectable 4 out of 5. While a beginner could build this kit, the unique engineering makes it more of a treat for experienced builders. Now let's move on to his appearance. The Master Grades of Gundam Wing suits are usually based off the Endless Waltz version rather than how they appeared in the TV anime, and this Tallgeese is no exception. Thankfully, however, there really are no differences between the TV version and the Endless Waltz version, aside from the darkness of the off-white. This is most noticeable in the chest. This guy essentially looks just like he did in the anime. There's absolutely no needless details or panel lines. Bandai essentially just took the line art and brought it into 3D. I just love it. I especially like the colors. The white just pops, and I really like the contrast of the light gray. The yellow is also perfect with just the right amount of orange mixed in. The dark blue used for some of the frame really spices it up too. The proportions are great too. With this being a Katoki designed suit, you'd expect it to have long legs, and sure enough, it does. But it's really offset by the heft of the shoulders and the thrusters. It's really an interesting silhouette. You get 2 sets of decals for this kit. The first is a set of dry transfers, which consist of all the red trims and the model numbers I added to the shoulders. The second is peel and stick, and has the rest of the caution signs, as well as the logo for the shield. I really would have liked this logo to have been dry transfer, but it's not that big of a deal. As usual, I skipped the bulk of these and decided to go for a more anime accurate look. Okay, that's about it for the appearance. Simply put, I love it. I really don't think you're going to find a better Tallgeese in model kit form. I'll give the appearance of this kit a perfect 5 out of 5. Really, this kit looks that good. Now it's time to take a look at his articulation. Starting from the feet, you get a little bit of movement from the toes, but the main movement comes from the ankle connection, which is a double ball joint. You can move these feet just about anywhere you want. This guard does have a tendency to fall off though, so I recommend gluing it down. The knee bend gets a little bit more than a 135-degree bend. The thigh armor is just too thick for that 180. The hips are somewhat of a cross between older polycaps on a peg setups and the newer style swivels. You get amazing kicks forward, but the spins and sideways movement are pretty limited because of the skirt armor. Speaking of the skirt armor, you don't really get much out of them since they're attached to the leg. The back skirts don't even move. The chest makes great use out of its 2 ball joints. You get pretty good spins and some amazing ab crunches. The shoulders are really intricate. They have a crazy pop out that allows for some really great movement, even with this massive shoulder armor. Unfortunately, the complexity lends it to kind of sagging over time. The arms themselves, like the knees, get a little bit more than a 135-degree bend. This connection here is a little weak though. The hands feature interchangeable fingers with a thumb on a ball joint. I've always hated this style of hand because it makes changing weapons a real hassle. It's also just way too easy to lose one of these fingers and just never be able to hold a weapon again. Still, they work great for keeping weapons held securely, and they're better than just not having pegs. Onto the head, which gets a little bit more than you would expect, but it's still a pretty large piece on a single ball joint. He can look up pretty well thanks to an extra hinge in the chest. Lastly, the thrusters are on a swivel. You can spin them around and that's about it. Still, I'd rather have a secure connection with the limited movement than some ball joint that would sag over time. Okay, that about wraps up the basic articulation. It's pretty solid for such a unique suit. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. While you aren't going to get this guy into anything too crazy, you still get a lot of options for poses. And finally, it's time to take a look at these weapons. First up is this lengthy rifle called the Dober gun. It's about as tall as the suit itself, and it looks really great. Of course, with this gun being so long, you're not really going to get any poses out of it. You can shoot forward and a little bit to the right, and that's about it. Also, you need to paint this lens blue, since it comes in clear and there is no sticker for it. Inside this thing is a small spring that allows you to push the barrel in, like it's recoiling after a shot or something. It's kind of a pointless feature, but cool nonetheless. Next is this elegant shield. I love the look of this thing. It's just so simple, yet it has enough detail to be recognizable. Both of these weapons attach to the shoulders using a series of ball joints and hinges. It's pretty cool, but they're kind of finicky. It's kind of hard to describe, but you kind of have to maneuver them in very specific ways. Regardless, I'm a sucker for kits that allow you to store the entire arsenal on the suit itself. Finally, you get the token beam sabers. Unlike the Wing Gundam, you actually get 2 handles to go with these 2 blades. You can store them both on the back of the shield for easy access. As for the gimmicks of the actual suit, the main one is being able to open up the thrusters. There's a set on the back of the skirt that open up, but the main set is on the backpack. You just pull this wing and they fold open. They look absolutely phenomenal. Just remember to paint this yellow and gray section on the wings. Lastly, there's something about being able to move the face mask inwards. With my limited Japanese skill, I think it says something about making it look more like a Gundam head, but honestly, I don't really notice a difference between the face mask moved in and moved out. I mean, I really think it's cooler that you can just take the face mask off to reveal the head of a Leo. With that said, all these gimmicks are pretty great. Everything it comes with works fantastic, and the ability to store things on the shoulders is awesome. I'll give the gimmicks of this kit another perfect score of 5 out of 5. Plus, it's got some weird gimmicks like the spring in the gun and the face mask. Okay, let's wrap this up for a final score. The build was a 4 out of 5. The engineering is really interesting, but there was a little bit more painting than you'd expect. The appearance was a 5 out of 5. Really, this is everything you could ask for from a Tallgeese model kit. The articulation got another 4 out of 5. You can do some cool poses, but not anything too crazy. And lastly, the gimmicks received another 5 out of 5. It comes with the weapons you'd expect, plus some interesting gimmicks. Tallying all that up and dividing, this Master Grade Tallgeese receives a 4.5 out of 5, or a 90%. Coincidentally, that's the same score the Master Grade Wing Gundam TV version received. While this kit has a weaker build, it makes up for it with some interesting gimmicks. If you're a fan of Gundam Wing and you're interested in Gunpla, these 2 kits are a great place to start. And if you're a more experienced builder, you'll really have a lot of fun with this build. On top of that, he looks great on your shelf. Now if only we could get the Tallgeese 2 and 3 as regular releases. Alright, feel free to leave any questions or comments you have about this kit below, or to recommend more kits for me to review. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.